Thanks, Wes. And here's the bottom line with Jamila Russell.
Good night and welcome to The Bottom Line with Jamila Russell on News Channel 8. Several weeks ago, we all heard of the alleged altercation at the legislature of the Virgin Islands between the executive director of the 28th legislature and a sitting senator from the District of St. Thomas. As the story unfolded, we heard several versions of the events on various radio talk shows. What we haven't heard, however, is a statement from the 28th legislature addressing this most serious matter. According to OSHA, workplace violence is violence or the threat of violence against workers. It can occur at or outside the workplace and can range from threats and verbal abuse to physical assaults and homicide, one of the leading causes of job-related deaths. However, it manifests itself. Workplace violence is a growing concern for employers and employees nationwide. In preliminary reports for 2008 from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, assaults and violent acts accounted for 16% of workplace fatalities. Staggering numbers, yet no word from the 28th legislature on what is being done to correct the problems that we have all heard about. As the lawmakers in the territory and the first branch of government, it is imperative that proper decorum is maintained. It is embarrassing to have to hear on the radio the most senior management employee of the legislature discussing the circumstances of the alleged altercation. Equally, or even more embarrassing, is the fact that we have not heard from the Senate President regarding how this matter will be resolved. While we may not like a particular elected official, and we all have our biases, we must have respect for the office senators hold. Senators are elected by the people and should be respected. The Occupational Safety and Health Act's General Duty Clause requires employers to provide a safe and healthful workplace for all workers covered by the OSH Act. Employers who do not take the reasonable steps to prevent or abate a recognized violence hazard in the workplace can be cited. It is evident from reports heard that hazards exist at our legislature. The bottom line is that the Senate President needs to take the bull by the horns and address workplace violence and its prevention. A written policy must be adopted and training must take place. Zero tolerance is the way to go. It is said that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We must learn from our mistakes. To its credit, the legislature has implemented a sexual harassment policy. It must now do the same for workplace violence. This has been The Bottom Line with Jamila Russell on News Channel 8. Good night.
Thanks, Jamila Russell, and that's the bottom line. And News Channel 8 wants to remind you that the reflections of the bottom line are not necessarily those of Channel 8, its management, or its sponsors. Stay with us on News Channel 8. We have more after the break. The Vice President of the American Red Cross National Chapter is in our territory. News Channel 8's Wes Small tells us more.
Thanks a lot, Jerome. We're in the VIP section today, right here at Henry Rolson Airport, with Greg Francis, our Lieutenant Governor, and also representatives from the American Red Cross nationally. And we're going to start here with you, ma'am.
My name is Carmen Canino, and I'm the Regional Director of the American Red Cross in the Caribbean.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, and your name?
I'm Benjamin Mshila. I'm the Executive Director for the American Red Cross in the Virgin Islands.
All right, and Mr. Starr?
The Vice President for Humanitarian Services out of our national organization.
Your first name is?
Jim Starr.
Jim Starr. All right. Well, Lieutenant Governor, they're here today. What is the purpose of the American Red Cross coming into the territory today?
Well, Mr. Starr, traditionally with any organization, they have a responsibility to visit a different jurisdiction. So as he's here visiting the territory, I guess with Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
So when I got the call, I said, no, Channel 8 has to be here.
All right.
It's nice meeting with me, but the public has to know the role of American Red Cross.
Okay.
Because I told Mr. Starr with my experience in the military, when my mom got sick, the president could have called, the governor, anybody could have called, but the only organization that's recognized by the military is the Red Cross. That's why he said the people need to know the role of it. But the most important thing too, we're here visiting, but we need individuals to make contribution to the Red Cross. Okay. That's the lifeblood and the lifeline of the organization.
All right. Miss
Canino.
Canino, What does it mean then with the American Red Cross coming into our territory right now? Thank God, knock on wood, looks like we're okay with hurricane season and so forth. But y'all had almost like a mini disaster right in Puerto Rico just a few days ago with the petroleum plant and everything. And I know the American Red Cross is always standing by, but how are y'all doing right now, especially in the Eastern Caribbean?
We're doing very well. The Red Cross said, and our volunteers were there since the whole thing started, and we provided assistance to the people that were working at the disaster area. Plus, we provided support services at the shelters,
Yes.
mental health, and thank goodness we're doing very well. And everything is going back to normal. So
Wonderful.
thank you for asking.
That's okay. You're our neighbor. We must. And, sir, what about you? What is your take on what's going on with the American Red Cross right now, not only locally, but nationally and internationally as well?
Well, you know, we're trying to have what we call one American Red Cross. And the purpose actually of the Vice President coming here is to speak to some of our executive board members or committee members to just guide them in which way we're going forward. We want to reach out to the community in terms of involvement. It's not about the Red Cross, it's about the community. And therefore, the more volunteers we get from the community, the better for the organization.
All right. Mr. Jim Starr, you're the Vice President nationally of the American Red Cross, and y'all are doing a great job as far as the media is concerned. I always watch that and monitor that. So how can we help, and how can we donate or volunteer to the American Red Cross?
Yeah, the best way to help the American Red Cross is just to become a part of the Red Cross. And there's a variety of different ways to do that. One's to volunteer. To help us out with all the different things that we do, from our support to our armed forces, to disaster preparedness, to helping respond to disasters also, not just the big hurricanes, but the single-family fires that we're responding to all the time as well. The other way is also to support us just through financial contributions. This organization is dependent on people's monetary support of our organization as well. We wouldn't be here without the support of not only our volunteers, but also the support of financial contributors as well.
All right. Well, that's nicely put. And Lieutenant Governor, of course, first thing we think about here is hurricanes when we think about national disasters, natural disasters, and the American Red Cross. And I always try to go back. I never forget when Jamie and I were airlifted on that huge C-130, I guess it is, back in 1989, when we just couldn't take it anymore. We had to go to Fort Lauderdale. Actually, to Air Force Base Andrews, which is I think is dismantled by now, whatever. And the first thing we saw, when Jamie and I got off the plane, and remember Jamie was just a little guy, 4 years old. We were so weak and malnourished, and the lady from the American Red Cross just looked at us with tears in her eyes and said, "You're okay now. You know, you're here, and here's an apple.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Here's some water." And I mean, the Niagara Falls just started to come down, and the American Red Cross will always have a special place in my heart and my son's heart and our family. And I know that I just echo those sentiments because everyone has a story to tell about sorrow and emergencies. And I can't imagine life without you guys, the American Red Cross. So thank you for being here. And please do what you can to donate and volunteer to the American Red Cross. Here with the Lieutenant Governor. Good job, on point as usual, like a good military man. At Rolston Airport, I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.